Imagine 3,000 miles of open ocean. No safety nets, no shortcuts. A battle against the elements, a journey into the unknown and pushing beyond the limits of what we think is possible. When I first met the team, I knew we had something special. This wasn't just another adventure story. It was a chance to create something new and never seen before. A film where adventure meets environmental action, and it's likely to be the first of its kind in many ways. Our mission is straightforward: to reveal the unvarnished truth of this journey. No staging, no softening, just the pure, unfiltered battle of 4 people against the vast Atlantic, and the impact of those they left at home. It's about exposing the reality of our oceans, showing the impact of plastic pollution, and putting a spotlight on the groundbreaking research that could change the future of our planet. It's where adventure meets environmental discovery. This is a story of pushing the human limits, not only to conquer the elements, but to protect the very world that we are exploring. What lies ahead is a journey like no other. The adventure begins here.
My name's Holly. I rowed from La Gomera to Antigua over 42 days as part of the Talisker Whisky Atlantic Challenge. So in 2019, I saw a talk on a team that had crossed the Atlantic Ocean by rowing it, and it massively inspired me. As a child, my hero was always Ellen MacArthur, and she had a final flare shot when she finished the Vendée Globe race, which was kind of how I thought I might want to get across an ocean. But having seen the talk, I knew that rowing was the way I wanted to do it. I then needed to find 3 crazy, very good friends to join me, which I managed to do a little too easily, other than Mike, who required a little bit of a nudge. And in 2022, we set off to row across the Atlantic. So when you take on a challenge of this magnitude, it gives you a lovely opportunity and platform to raise awareness or funds for charities. And for us, it was important to get this cause right. We're all sailors, we all love the ocean, and we're in the middle of a huge plastic crisis. So it felt appropriate to look at that as our cause. There's loads of charities that do things by sort of pulling plastics out of the ocean and trying to clean up what we've got already and do things with that. But we were really looking at trying to find something that would look at the root of the problem or try and tackle that in an infinite way. So we chose to support the University of Portsmouth's groundbreaking research on plastics. So people ask about the highs and the lows of the challenge. It all kind of blurs into one because you're in a very surreal environment. But I think talking about highs as a team, I think we recognised that we needed to have a laugh, and the camaraderie between us was what made us strong. We laughed a lot about the hallucinations that we were seeing. Personally, the night sky for me was a huge high. And even though the weather was pretty terrible the whole way, there was still a sense of peace that I kind of found being out on the ocean, which for me was a real high. It took a while for us to get used to the boat, although we're all sailors, so we're quite comfortable on the water. And it didn't take us long to realise that our boat was really hardy, and we had a lot of faith and a lot of trust in it, and we could see that it was absolutely tackling the elements and sort of battling everything that was throwing at it. And once you get confidence in your kit and your navigation and everything that we had on board, which we were really happy with, we relaxed a little bit and became quite complacent. Until we had total comms blackout, so we lost all of our navigation. We couldn't row, it was getting dark, we had beam on seas, and we all kind of recognised at that point we were in the shit. So in that moment, you realise the reality of the situation and what you're doing, and complacency just can't happen. Before I did the challenge, my family, quite a few members of them are master mariners, and they spent a while trying to talk me out of it. Our families, they have a safety briefing before we leave, and they do explain to them in as softer way as you possibly can how dangerous the ocean really is, and we know and respect Mother Nature very much. But at that time it was dark, and you feel very, very small in a very, very large ocean. You've got no navigation equipment, you've got no communication, and essentially you can't row, you can't steer, and you're beam on to big seas. And you think about what people might be thinking at home. They'll be seeing our little dot on the tracker, not doing what it should ordinarily do, which I can only imagine for my mother created absolute panic.
Still on the boat. Oh, this is nuts. Absolutely nuts.
The weather's pretty bad. Sea state's horrendous. But we're pushing through.
It's funny because it's terrifying at times and then absolutely hilarious and brilliant the next.
So for me, it was all about the finish. We'd been on the ocean for 42 days. We were tired. We knew our families were on the shore, which I think for us was the hardest thing to know for a few days. You just wanted to get there. And you approach the island, you start to see land. It's a very bizarre thing to start seeing. And it's still silent. You approach kind of the finishing kind of area, but it's hidden away in a bay, so you don't see it till the last minute. And then we checked in with the safety officer, so we knew there'd be a boat coming out to kind of meet us and guide us that last little bit. And in the distance, you see them coming towards you, and it just builds and builds. And before you know it, you're seeing humans flashing cameras and driving around you and getting excited, but you still can't see where you're actually finishing. You follow the boat around the corner, still rowing obviously, the boys were. And as you come around the corner, this roar just comes out of the bay, and it builds and builds, and suddenly you can see people. You can't really see people, but you can see small things. You know they're humans, you can hear the noise. And then you see the line, and the line is marked by 2 boys. And you know that that's the line that you just want to get over. At that point, it becomes way more obvious that there are more things to see, more boats, restaurants, people stood outside having dinner. We are the champions playing from a restaurant nearby. And I mean, I was just completely overwhelmed. We crossed the finish line, and Ian Couch, who's the Chief Safety Officer, sets off a flare, and that is your marker that you've completed it. And it was at that point for me that 3 years of campaigning, hard work, almost kind of, we talked about rowing an ocean for such a long time that it become a really normal thing. We'd normalised the whole process. We were going to row 3,000 miles, and we were going to shit in a bucket, and we were going to eat some crap food, and it become this really normal thing, which clearly it wasn't. And it was only at that moment that we really realised what we'd just achieved. We just rowed across an ocean, really dangerous, incredible thing to do. And then we start moving on, and we see our family on the shore. And for me, if you could bottle that moment, it would be incredible. I don't think I'll ever feel like anything like that ever again in my life.